Robert Frost. When you look around you, are you inspired by your surroundings? Do the places you visit make you want to write and describe them to people who have never been there? Robert Frost was. Even though he was born in California, Frost is best known for living and writing about New England. Born in San Francisco in 1874, Frost moved with his mother to Lawrence, Massachusetts. When his father died in 1885, Frost worked very hard at his studies, graduating at the head of his class. In fact, he was co-valedictorian with his future wife, Eleanor White. He decided he wanted to be a poet while still in high school, publishing his first poem in his school magazine in 1890. In 1892, he sold his first poem, My Butterfly, an elegy, to a magazine for $15. After marrying Eleanor in 1895, he moved with her to New Hampshire, and together they taught school and worked on their farm. In his free time, Frost continued to write poetry but struggled to get his work published. In 1912, he and Eleanor sold their farm and moved across the sea to England, where he hoped to find more success as a writer. There he published his first book, which helped to establish his reputation as a writer. When World War I began in 1914, Frost decided to leave England. They came back to the United States in 1915, and Frost continued his career as a poet. He wrote and taught for the rest of his life. Frost loved New England and was inspired by the countryside, culture, and nature in the northeast part of the United States. He wrote poems that realistically described the unique landscape of New England, such as the orchards and spring in farmland. He was also inspired by his wife. His poems were like any others of the time because they were a mix of traditional and modern styles. Traditional poems of the time were highly structured with meter and rhyme patterns and dealt with broad topics such as love, religion, and death. Modern poets used free verse, writing about everyday life or ordinary objects. Frost's poems were a mix of both styles. His poems weren't quite modern because they had rhyme and rhythm, but they also were not quite traditional because he wrote in an informal, conversational style. The themes of Frost's poems were also non traditional, using imagery or words that help to see and hear to describe nature and daily life in New England. Often he wrote in the voice of a New England farmer, and his poems were intended to be read aloud. Frost was an accomplished writer. In 1924, he won the first of four Pulitzer Prizes for his book, New Hampshire. He was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal and was chosen to read a poem at President John F. Kennedy's inauguration. Frost died in 1963 at the age of 88. Look around you at the place you live in. Perhaps this could inspire you, like Robert Frost, to write poetry.